This presentation is a brief introduction to the bureaucratic side of being a Vermont EMS instructor. In addition to planning and delivering course material, instructors interact with the EMS office and the National Registry of EMTs to get courses and practical exam sites approved and to get students tested, nationally certified, and state licensed. Whenever you present course material, you're required to disclose any biases or conflicts of interest you might be perceived as having. For this presentation, my bias is that I think course administration is the most important part of being an EMS instructor, but I admit it might not be the most exciting. As soon as the ink is dry on your Vermont instructor license, log into your National Registry account, go to Account Settings, and register to become a NREMT Program Director. As Program Director, you will inform NREMT of your students' course completion status and track their testing progress. NREMT will ask you to provide the name of your education program. It's best to enter your own name instead of a school or a district or an EMS agency so that your program director status is not tied to one place. Be sure to select all the levels at which you plan to teach. Selecting AEMT, for instance, does not authorize you to teach at all levels below AEMT. You must select EMR, EMT, and AEMT if you plan to teach at these levels. As I alluded to before, there is so much more to being an EMS instructor than developing a curriculum and teaching courses. To ensure your course meets all the expected standards and has all the necessary supports in place, you will need to begin planning your course long before the first class session is held. All courses leading to EMS certification or licensure need to be reviewed by the district board where the course will take place, and then be approved by the EMS office. The two most important questions are, what is your plan, and who are your peeps? You will need a course medical director, other instructors perhaps, a course syllabus, affiliations with clinical settings where your students will get hands-on patient care experience, and a plan for testing your students' practical skills competency. All EMS courses need a medical director. This can be any emergency physician, but many instructors ask their district medical advisor to serve in this role. The course medical director is the ultimate medical authority for the course. They must verify your students' cognitive, affective, and skill competence. They are also your liaison to the broader medical community and can bring in specialists to provide deeper knowledge of course topics and EMS's role in the medical system. One of the most misunderstood documents in education is the course syllabus. It is much more than a course schedule. But what is it? The course syllabus is like a contract with your students. This is where you explain your expectations of them and what they can expect from you, your instructors, and the course medical director. It's where you outline the course's objectives and how they will be achieved. You'll want to have class policies, and you can spell those out in the syllabus. A description of your performance evaluation procedures is an important part of the syllabus as well. Hands-on patient contacts are an essential element of an EMS course, and it's your responsibility to establish written agreements with clinical facilities where your students can have supervised, meaningful interactions with real patients with real medical issues. These can include hospitals, rescue squads, doctors' offices, medical clinics, and even simulation labs if they're available to you. Establishing clinical affiliations can be challenging, but the written agreements must be in place before the course begins. Once all the components of your course are in place, You may now begin the course approval process by logging into your Lights online portal. Select Manage from the left-hand menu, then Courses. If the Manage option does not appear on your portal, contact the state training administrator to update your record. Then click on the Add New Course button to open the application. Fill out the course details page, but do not hit the Finalize Course Creation button at the bottom just yet. You will do that after completing the rest of the application. Detailed instructions can be found in the Lights user guide posted on the Vermont EMS website. The state practical exam is considered part of the EMS course, and it is your responsibility to ensure that your students are registered for one as soon as they complete the course. You can either plan your own exam site or work with another instructor and the EMS office to identify another site where the students can take the exam. If you are planning your own site, you will need to apply for exam site approval. The exam site approval process is identical to the course approval process and uses the same application. In the course type field, select Practical Exam. Put the exam level in the course name field. Since the skill stations and approval requirements are different for each level, you will need to submit a separate application for each level, even if the levels are all being tested at the same exam site. See the Lights user guide for more detailed information about the exam site approval process. The course approval application must reach the EMS office no less than 2 weeks before the start date. Keep in mind that the district board needs to review the application and make its recommendation for approval before then, so be sure that they receive your application in time. When your course is approved, you will receive an email message from the Lights system with your course number and other important information you and your students need to know. Please read this letter carefully. A student manual is available on the Vermont EMS website. Make sure your students are aware of it. In fact, make time during your first or second class session to review it with the class. It provides useful information about how the course should run, policies, EMS statutes, and the licensing process. As soon as a student has enrolled in your course, instruct them to create a Lights account if they don't already have one, and to submit a course enrollment notification to EMS office application. Completing this form will automatically add them to your course roster in Lights, and it will provide information to the EMS office so that we can check their students' tax, child support, and crime conviction history status. At the end of the course, you will need to update the course record in Lights with the student's course completion status. Go to the Attendees tab and use the Bulk Actions button at the bottom to indicate whether they passed, failed, or withdrew from the class. They will not be eligible for the practical exam until you have recorded their successful completion of the course. When you have updated Lights with the student's course completion, instruct them to log into their Lights account and submit a practical exam registration application. They will need to enter their course number on the application, so be sure they know what it is. Detailed instructions for completing this application can be found in the Lights user guide. AEMT and paramedic students may take the practical exam before completing the clinical internship portion of the course, so long as they have passed the didactic and lab objectives. This requires you to approve them for early eligibility on the NREMT website and on their Lights course roster. The students will receive a practical authorization to test number, or PATT number, from NREMT, which they must enter on their practical exam registration application. This is their ticket into an AEMT or paramedic practical exam site. If they need to retest any skill stations, they will need to wait until NREMT officially scores their exam and reauthorizes their PATT number before they can enroll in another exam site. EMR and EMT students can expect their practical results from the EMS office within about 2 weeks. The results will appear in their Lights account in the Documents section. AEMT and paramedic exams are scored by NREMT, and these results are sent directly to the students by NREMT. The EMS office does not have a role in AEMT or paramedic results processing or reporting. Students can register for the National Registry Cognitive Exam as soon as their instructor has verified their course completion on the NREMT website. The EMS office will pay the fee for all attempts on the cognitive exam so long as the student has an EMS agency affiliation and no outstanding issues under investigation. Students use Lights to apply for exam fee payment using the NREMT Cognitive Exam Fee Payment Request application. After the student has passed the National Registry Cognitive and Practical exams, they can apply in Lights for an EMS license. They should not begin a license application until they have received their NREMT certification, or Lights will reject the application. Your Vermont instructor license is timed to expire with your personnel license. To renew your instructor license, you will need to complete 12 hours of instructor-related continuing education every 2 years and participate in a system of quality improvement, including peer review approved by the EMS office. After you have renewed your personnel license, submit an instructor coordinator license renewal application in the Lights system. Well, that's the bureaucratic side of being a Vermont EMS instructor. Feel free to consult the Lights user guide for more information about course and exam site approval documentation, or contact the EMS office with questions.